what you feed your mind. And a lot of people feed their bodies garbage and they feed their mind garbage and they wonder why they're garbage. I mean, if you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. I think another. Hey guys, I'm back with another episode of Mental Wealth. This podcast is used to express thoughts, experiences, and lessons. I aim to be as transparent as possible. If you enjoy an episode, please don't forget to like, comment, and tell a friend. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to Mental Wealth. In today's episode, I plan to talk about stress and burnout and why they're so common and how they impact our mental, physical, and emotional well-being. Let me start off by giving you guys a life update. So all that studying I've been talking about so I could pass my exam this week. I passed my exam. I think, the first time I took the exam, I got a 96 and I needed a 98, so I was 2 points short. This time when I took the exam, I got a 112 and all I needed was a 98. So, yes sir. It's just so much stress and everything relieved off my back. Me not passing that exam, it definitely had me questioning everything, and me just sitting down having to study 4 hours a day, and I felt like I couldn't do anything until I studied and studied and studied. Finally being able to take the exam and knocking it out of the park, it definitely boosted my confidence and everything, and it shows me that hard work does pay off, just like I said in the last episode. This was a very great moment. I would say since me starting in my professional career so far, this was definitely the most challenging thing that I've encountered, because I almost can't do anything without passing that exam and getting licensed. I can't have my own clients in the state of South Carolina unless I'm a licensed therapist or a licensed social worker, whatever. So it's definitely very great that I passed. So now I can definitely move farther ahead in my career and help as many people as possible. I would say another life update for me is I got pulled over today. It was something about, God was on my side though. I can't afford no more tickets and stuff. I need every point I can get. But yeah, I got pulled over for one of my third taillight being out, so I'll definitely get that seen about. But yeah, this was not the way I wanted to start my Sunday. This is not what I expected when I left the house. Listened to church this morning because I didn't go. But yeah, this is not what I expected. But luckily, the officers were some really good guys and stuff, and they let me off the hook, just gave me a warning, told me to get it fixed. So I'm here shooting the episode. Let me think about a personal experience I've had with burnout. I would say my most recent experience with burnout has to be me preparing to graduate. And so just me going through the whole process, because I would say the hardest part is closer when you get to the end and not when you started. I was extra enthusiastic about starting, but then when I get closer to the end, I'm like, oh, I need to get a job. I just got engaged, so I got to deal with that and planning a wedding, and then just managing doing my practicum and just going to school and just forgetting about turning in assignments and stuff. I would definitely say my procrastination, I wouldn't say it increased, but it made it hard for me to sit down and prioritize things that I needed to. But I'm happy I pushed through, because if I didn't, I would still be in school right now. So definitely being able to overcome this situation is what helped me get through. I plan to give you guys some practical strategies, some mindset shifts, and some self-care tips about managing stress and burnout. Make sure you stay tuned. All right, understanding stress and burnout. What is stress? Stress is the body's natural response to pressure, deadlines, and challenges. Now, what is burnout? Burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged stress. So this is how they coincide with each other. Stress leads to burnout. Some key signs of burnout are constant fatigue, even when you're rested, lack of motivation or interest in work/life, or both, increased anxiety, irritability, and attachment, and finally, physical symptoms. And there is a difference between healthy stress, which motivates you, and chronic stress, which harms you. And we're talking more so about the chronic stress. But not all stress is bad. It's important to recognize the symptoms of burnout. The symptoms include physical, emotional, and behavioral. Some physical symptoms include, like I said earlier, constant fatigue, even after resting, frequent headaches and muscle pain, insomnia or trouble sleeping, and it also affects your immune system. It weakens it. Some emotional symptoms include feeling detached, hopeless, or unmotivated, increased irritability and frustration over small things, difficulty concentrating or feeling mentally foggy, and losing interest in activities you once enjoyed. Behavioral symptoms include procrastination and struggling to complete tasks, which I was up against. We've all been up against it. Withdrawing from social interactions, using unhealthy coping mechanisms like overeating, drinking, excessive scrolling. Yeah, excessive scrolling for you people out there. Yeah, that about wraps up the causes of stress and burnout. Workplace pressure, high demands, lack of control, toxic environments. And I know a lot of people are stressed. A lot of people aren't in ideal situations at their workplace, so this definitely would affect your levels of burnout. I mean, people have to meet deadlines and so forth, and even just working with people you more so don't really care for. I mean, this affects people. Personal responsibilities definitely help cause stress and burnout. This includes your family, finances, and relationships. And I would say finances definitely stick out. Because, I mean, if your money isn't right, this affects how you even smile. I mean, I know me, myself, when my money not right, I'm not going nowhere. I'm eating sandwiches. Like, I'm not too enthusiastic about doing anything that would require me to even spend more money, and let alone having fun or enjoying things. I'm like, I don't deserve to have fun, especially when I don't have money. I'm like, I don't deserve to have fun. You broke. Like, that's kind of how I've been lately, just navigating the job situation. I mean, I got a job now. I'm just waiting to start. But even me, up until I start, and then when you start a job, you gotta go the long period without getting paid and stuff. I'm like, wow, this is definitely an adjustment for me. What also causes stress and burnout is perfectionism and the pressures to always be productive. I would say this is kind of what is also wrapped its fingers around me too, because since I don't have a job, I went so long without having a job, I've been like one of those people that try to maximize their productivity. I literally like schedule my days the day in ahead, and I know exactly what I'm going to do every day. And when I'm not doing something, I'm either reading or watching a video trying to improve myself in various different fields. I try to make my days as productive as possible. I know what also affects it is social media and comparison, especially the comparison trap. Me just looking at my life and just seeing, all right, I mean, there are various people I went to school with that are highly successful, and you get online, everybody's successful. And so it just have you like, dang, like, and especially like when I look at my journey, I look back at the overall journey, and it's just, I wouldn't say it's taking me longer, but to get to where I want to be, it wasn't going to happen fast. It wasn't going to happen overnight. I would say when I first was dealing with this experience, it definitely was hard on me. I mean, it was hard on me because, I mean, I've always been my biggest critic and been hard on myself. So when I'm not where I feel like I should be, it definitely has played, and it definitely had its effects on me and messing with my confidence and stuff. And I would say now my confidence is like up here. You can be an asshole to me and I'm still like, I'll brush it off. But I would definitely say that comparison stuff, even it affects me. It affects everybody. I mean, you get online, you see everybody getting married, buying houses and all so forth. That has you like, dang. I mean, this is even affected my relationship because, I mean, my fiance was, she's seen everybody else getting engaged and so she's like, all right, man, we done been together almost half of 10 years and stuff. We done been together 6 years and stuff now, so it's like, all right, if you gonna ask me, you need to ask me. But I would say my thing was first I needed money. Like, you need money, and I don't want to be married without having a job and stuff, and I don't want to go into start a marriage with more so being dependent on one income. So I would say this is a bigger role, and even when I was in undergrad and stuff, I'm like, I gotta go get a whole nother degree. I'm trying to get my life together, so it's kind of hard to plan a life with someone else too if your life isn't together. So I would say it definitely took a lot of growing for me and for her. And another cause of stress is not setting boundaries. And this is what really hit home for me also. I mean, a lot of people say yes to everything, and it's harder to tell people no. But I learned that I started feeling the most free and the most stuff off my back when I was able to say no more than I was able to say yeah. And this will drastically shift and change relationships once you try to establish boundaries. But boundaries are important because When you let people constantly encroach on your boundaries, they don't know what they're doing. So how can you hold somebody responsible if something bothers you but you never come out and say it? How can you try to hold somebody accountable for that? Now it's a complete difference once you say, all right, I don't like this, or I don't agree with this, and then they keep encroaching on your boundaries. Then it's just like, all right, now you know how to deal with the situation in a better way. But if they don't know, you can't change the problem. So what definitely helped me was sitting back and watching the things I committed to do and the things I don't commit to do. And this will definitely help you. Some practical strategies for managing stress include mindset shifts. When you reframe stress as a signal and not an enemy, it's a sign that you should look at stress as a sign that something needs to change. Now, either that something is you, the situation, or the way you think about the situation, but something needs to change. I think what also affects this too is we live in a hustle culture. And a lot of people want things fast. People see microwave success and everything instead of looking at like more so sustainable success. And how can I build something for the long term? A lot of people want to have, especially when I talk to various different friends of mine, a lot of people my age aren't more so worried about having a 401k or a stock portfolio or owning assets or prioritizing fixing their credit. And this is completely astonishes me. They'll rather go have fun and stuff every weekend. And I'm like, the decisions you make in your 20s set you up for the rest of your life. And I don't think a lot of people put enough emphasis on this. So when people get in their 30s and they're like, dang, why are these people so far ahead of me? They don't really look at the decisions that they made versus decisions they decided to make. They just look at them being unlucky or whatever, and they don't take control or they don't take ownership of the situation. A lot of people lack accountability. Another strategy for managing stress is deep breathing exercises and mindful practice. Time management strategies to avoid being overwhelmed. This would definitely help me, blocking out certain times for this, certain times for that. I'll spend an hour studying, take a break, eat something, then come back, do another hour. That's great. Journaling and brain dumping. I've been using my little notepads and stuff, whatever. But this definitely helps me. Just getting if I have a good thought that comes to my head or even a negative thought that just pops up in my head, I'm like, hold on, let me write this down real quick and come back to it. Or even if you check the notes app on my phone, it has 50,000 different notes about various ideas, topics, things I might want to tweet out or whatever, different quotes that come to mind. But I think a great thing to do is collect your thoughts and put them down somewhere, because we live in a fast-paced society, so you rarely have time to sit down and remember, even think about yesterday or even how your day was. I mean, a lot of people can't remember 2 days ago and what they did 2 days ago, let alone 2 weeks ago. So I think a great thing to do is collect your thoughts and especially put times and dates on this thought. So like if I put a thought I had, I'll definitely include the date. On this day I thought about this in this specific way. And I think a lot of times when you don't do that, you'll never know exactly when you had that thought, because just like I said, society is so fast paced, you rarely have time to sit down and strategize. And I kind of feel like that's how it's been designed too, though. I mean, if you had so many people thinking and stuff, we wouldn't have as many problems. I think another great strategy that people can do for managing stress, making sure you keep up with your sleep, your hydration, and nutrition. I think a lot of people stay up all night, sleep in all day. I mean, a lot of people, even just fixing that one habit right there could drastically change the stress you're under. Even drinking water. It's amazing to hear people talk about they don't drink water or they can't drink water regularly. They got to put some kind of sugar packet or whatever in the water. I'm like, that is insane. And it makes you see, even nutrition. People eat horribly every day and don't care. I mean, I've been more recently, I've been learning more about microplastics and stuff. So this has me not drinking any water out of any plastic bottle, or eating stuff that were wrapped in heated plastic. Anytime you heat something and it has plastic or whatever on it, seeps into the food. And I know that might be a higher level of being healthy and stuff, but a lot of people eat out. People rarely cook. People rarely reflect. And so people barely have time. Well, if they scheduled their days better, but for the most part, people rarely have time to sit back and watch the things that they put into their mouth. And it's really, you got to watch what you feed your body and what you feed your mind. And a lot of people feed their bodies garbage and they feed their mind garbage and they wonder why they're garbage. I mean, if you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. I think another thing that people don't do is at least walk. I know when I tell people, when people talk to me, because I go to the gym every day, but when people talk to me about like they want to lose this weight or they want to do this or they want to do that, I'm like, do you even walk? The great thing that anybody can start with is eating better. All you gotta do is just cut out this sugary sodas and stuff and walk every day. And I remember seeing a study and they talked about, what was it, Japanese people. I don't mean to offend anybody or whatever, but they talked about why you don't really see, why they're so thin and why you don't see obese Japanese people. And it's mainly because, or Asian people more so, but it's mainly because they walk. And then I started thinking, I'm like, that is definitely true, because the Asian families and stuff I see in my neighborhood, they walk. I see them walking at least 2 times a day, and I'm like, wow. But it's just, even when you look at them, because I remember I seen somebody. There was a big argument, or it was a big discourse about, you got standing desk and people sitting all day. What was better for you, and different desk or whatever. And what ended up being the best for you was just walking every couple of hours. I mean, just taking a walk. It wasn't more so standing can be bad for you, and sitting all day. We already know the effects of sitting all day. So definitely walking some. Some ways to avoid burnout before it even happens is by learning to say no without guilt and separating your personal life from other parts of your life. Separating your life definitely helps. I think a lot of times when you have so many different parts of your life intertwined, it makes it harder to take a step back from it. I mean, you're not really setting boundaries in so much of your life. People get home and look at work emails and stuff. I'm like, no, you're at home, sit down and relax. And I'm kind of guilty of it. I check my email 10 times a day. The older I get, the more I check my email. So I understand why old people check their email so much. Another way to avoid burnout is building a support system. This helped me and has continued to help me, is making sure you have a mentor, friends, or even a therapist. I've used all 3 of them. Greatly impacted the way I even see the world now. I mean, I wouldn't say I was a mean person, but I wasn't too kind. I wouldn't say I was the nicest person either. And I'm more so focused about me. Because I felt like I couldn't be hurt as much if I was more selfish. So this kind of reinforced itself over and over again, to the point, I mean, I definitely did have a very selfish attitude and personality. Like, I really didn't care for stuff everybody else does. And I wasn't too inclined to want to help people at anything either. I think another thing that you can do with your support system is delegating tasks instead of taking on everything yourself. I think a lot of times people don't realize, I mean, every relationship and friendship should have a reason and a purpose. I think when you sit back and look at your various friendships and relationships, ask yourself, what purpose does this serve me and what purpose do I serve them? And a lot of times people are in, I wouldn't say dead relationships, but they get nothing from it. And so since you're getting nothing from it, you're only giving and not getting anything back. So this only takes from you. And a lot of people are takers. A lot of people don't provide or give back or anything. A lot of people just take. And that's the kind of society we live in. It would say a lot of times society kind of encourages this behavior more so than being a giving person. But I've noticed the best people I've been around are more willing givers than takers. Another great thing that you can do to avoid burnout is taking a break and resting without guilt. I know a lot of times, the older I get, the more naps I take. I used to be like, bro, hell no, I'm not taking no nap. Like, I got stuff to do. But I've learned over time that resting is just as important as doing. And you can only do so much when you have so little battery. And it's crazy to say this, but humans spend majority of their living life sleeping, not actually doing stuff. And I think this drastically shifted my mindset when I figured it out. When I was listening to a podcast and they talked about this concept, and I was like, damn, that's crazy. Like, you do spend a majority of your adult life sleeping instead of work and all the other stuff. And I was like, dang, but it's drastically shifted my mindset. Even when I look at my calendar and how I schedule my days every day, I literally, like, some days, especially this week, I had, what was it, Tuesday, I chose Tuesdays to be a day I did nothing. And today, I usually rest on Sundays and stuff, but I gotta knock this podcast episode out so I can have one to upload for this week. But I'm gonna spend the rest of my day not doing anything, and I think this is important. So it helps me be able to attack the week strong every time. And your week starts on Sunday. You make a great week on Sunday, not Monday, Tuesday, or whatsoever. I think a lot of times too, people don't realize that rest is productive, and burnout only progresses when you don't rest. I mean, just even look at when people have to work 16-hour shifts, they have to get home and immediately sleep. They have to get up again the next day and do it. You can look at somebody's effort and stamina on the first day, and then you can look at it on the 5th day of them doing this, and you would drastically see a drop in their stamina and their effort through them not being able to sleep as much as they needed to. Another great way to avoid burnout is finding your purpose. And this includes engaging in hobbies or activities that aren't work related, and rediscovering a passion you might have had in the past. I mean, this can involve painting, even playing a video game. There's no problem with playing a video game. You see my PlayStation back there. Oh, it's on this side. You see my PlayStation back there. I mean, I'm probably gonna play that today too, just so I can keep my mind off constantly having to be locked in and reading whatsoever. I would say even me looking back on when stress and burnout were in my life, I could even talk about me studying for this test and how I felt like I couldn't do anything until I studied for the test. So this de-incentivized me from being able to do anything from keeping my life moving forward, because I was so locked in on this test, and I was so locked in on graduating and all the different things I went through. I would say my stress and burnout stopped when I accomplished the task. And that's just me looking at me. That's kind of how I am. But I think what also changed too is my mindset. And my mindset allowed me to be able to overcome these situations and be able to overcome anything I'm faced with. My mindset has always pushed me through. And I also find if you don't think you can do it, it'll never happen. And a lot of people don't have that confidence in themselves. I'm definitely going to do an episode about confidence and building confidence, because that's very important for everyone. A great question to ask yourself is, are you feeling overwhelmed? What's one small thing that you can do today to reduce your stress? I think another thing that people should do is create a burnout prevention plan. Definitely will help. So next time you're faced with burnout and the effects of it, you know how to tackle this. You don't take anything from it. If you don't learn anything in this episode, I want you to know that your mindset gets you through. Burnout and stress are inevitable. There's a difference between good stress and bad stress, and anything you want to happen, you have to work on it. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'm going to be back with you for another one. Peace.